We're Joel and Rachel, and welcome to our bus. The reason we went tiny was for a couple reasons. Number one, we wanted to travel, but number two, we were tired of paying so much rent. Rachel was surfing on Pinterest, and she found tiny houses on wheels, showed it to me, and I was like, let's get one. After we found tiny homes on Pinterest, years went by, and the thought just kept growing on us, and we wanted to travel. We wanted to shrink our living expenses, and yeah, we decided to do it. So the reason I went for a bus that was already converted was because I had no building experience. But then when I bought it and it started falling apart, I was like, I literally have to figure this out. So learned it all on YouTube, and it's been good.
YouTube is a big help, but also getting involved in the schoolie community, going to different events was also super helpful. We've been adopted by a schoolie grandpa and a schoolie dad who really helped us know how to do a lot of mechanical work that we didn't know how to do.
So as you walk in the bus, some basic changes we made was we put some carpet on the stairs, put this shoe cubby here. The front here is not done yet. We plan on redoing all of this. Quick note, we bought this bus already converted. It was converted on HGTV. Outside was done great, the roof raise, we didn't do that. But the inside was kind of done on a budget. So we pretty much tore everything out on the inside and then rebuilt it ourselves. All right, so let me give you a tour of the inside. So here in the living room is the pellet stove that we heat our house with when it's cold. And then up above is our 4K TV monitor. We like to keep up with some friends at home through gaming. So we got a PS5 back here behind the TV. And actually me and Rachel both love to game and play with our friends. So I actually have another PS5 and the same TV monitor in the bedroom as well. So over here, we got some basic decor, and these lights have actually been really nice. They magnetize, don't fall off while we drive, and then they just have a little touch button. So we can have some more warm light at night. Up above, this is part of the roof raise. It's not insulated back here, but it's a good place to kind of just keep some blankets and stuff like that. If you're new to living off grid, mini splits are the most power efficient way to cool your house. One thing you've probably noticed that I want to mention to you is our ceiling. The ceiling is one of the only things I didn't really change when we bought the bus. And as you can see, there's these little dots right here. And that's because this wood is screwed right into the rib of the bus. And then condensation will gather on the screws, and then it makes the paint come off and it creates this awkward line. So definitely look into that if you're building a bus. Don't screw directly into the ribs. But as you can see also up here, there's some LED lights that hardly use any power at all, so that's nice. And then coming down here, we decided to tear out the couch and put an actual couch in because the people that built this bus before, the guy was 6'7", she was 6'5". They were really tall people, and the couch was this deep and this high, and it was really awkward. So we changed it out to a normal couch so we could sit comfortably in here. And then over here to the right, this is our little work desk Rachel uses the most, but I use it sometimes as well. Just clicks up like that. You can sit on the stool, or as you can see, there's a hook right above where we will take our hammock chair and just hang it there, and you can kind of have a little comfortable hammock seat while you work here.
So what I do for work is I'm actually in marketing. I run a couple social media brand accounts, and that's what I've been doing for the past several years. And
then me, I just create the videos typically for those accounts that she runs, and I'm just independently contracted out to create so many videos a month for him.
When we first got the bus, we were living in Florida and did a lot of the renovations there. COVID hit, we were kind of stuck there for a little bit longer than we wanted to be. But this year we finally got out west, been traveling at 3-ish years, but this is our first year out west. Love it, and it's gonna be hard to park and be at a stationary if we ever do that.
Yep. So when we first bought the bus, the number one thing I started doing was storage because there was no cabinets. It was just shelves, which don't work when you're moving. We moved on to tearing out the living room, rebuilding the kitchen. Then we added solar, we added water tanks, and then next was the bathroom. That was a big one. And then we're still doing it. We're still working on the bedroom. So 5 years later, still going strong. So moving into the kitchen over here, one thing that I really wanted when it came to a tiny house was a coffee bar. We've been really into iced coffee lately. That's why you don't see a coffee maker here, but we have a cool little You can call it Chick-fil-A ice maker here that we use all the time. Also, these windows, something worth mentioning, are these custom sized blinds. This really helps keep the heat from coming in. And then the counter, we did tear all this down and rebuild it, but one thing we wanted to keep was the tall countertops. Like I mentioned, they were tall people and they built the counters taller than normal, but it was actually nice, not like hunched over your countertop cooking and making meals. So we kept it tall, and it also gave us more storage below. So our sink is one of the only original pieces of this bus build that was built on HGTV. It fit here perfectly, we decided to keep it, and then we added this cool faucet. Technically, you can turn both of these off with this piece, but we just leave it on, and then you can control that or that. And then over here, we have a propane oven slash stove. That's great, it's perfect size. We have a microwave right above. And then also there, when we first bought it, they had a RV fridge here. We tore that out. There's actually a wall here too, separating the fridge from the kitchen. And so we tore that out, put a spice rack in, and then an apartment sized fridge. And then right beside the fridge here is our closets. I get the top section, Rachel gets the bottom. For most people that live tiny, they don't have a lot of clothes, but I like clothes, so.
My favorite things about our build, the big kitchen, that was a must for me. The 8-foot ceilings, that was also a must for me. And
she had a lot of musts.
I did have a lot. I didn't think it would ever go tiny.
I have much less desires of what I want in this bus, but this pellet stove here was definitely a big one for me. I just didn't like my diesel heater. It didn't heat up very fast, and when I saw this in another bus, I was like, I gotta have that. Second thing for me was definitely the roof deck, which is not done yet, but I think we're getting around to it soon. There's a lot of challenges that definitely show up in this lifestyle, especially when you're new to it. When you come in not knowing much and you're having to learn and adapt to all the new things. Like example, when I first was running my bus off a generator, carbon monoxide got in, we almost died from that. Didn't know that was coming. Just things like that, you know, kept coming up and I had to learn and fix them. And then mechanics, of course, have always been a challenge as well because I'm not a mechanic. So when we bought the bus, I believe it cost $29,000 already converted. Since then in renovations, we've probably put a total, including the cost of the bus, about $65,000 into it. So there's definitely schoolies out there that you can do for much cheaper than that, but since we already bought it converted, the price is definitely a little higher. Something worth mentioning is we have 2 cats, and they usually like to dart out the door, so while we were filming, we kind of locked them in here, but their name is Monty and Pete. Pete, come on. And that's Monty. So we have this sliding barn door that for the bathroom here that we custom built. And then also right here is where we keep the AC remote, hallway light. And right above, we also have a max fan that we use to kind of, if we're cooking, get the steam out of the bus. We actually have a pretty unique bathroom compared to most tiny homes. Rachel talked me into installing a full-size bathtub in here. And then we have like a little small sink right next to it, storage cabinet below, mirror above, a couple little shelves there, and then the bathtub. But we got a nice freestanding bathtub here with a nice filler, a window right beside it so you can kind of see out while you're taking a bath. The shower curtain wraps around the whole tub, and we have the Nebia shower head so we can save water while we're showering. Also right above the bathtub, we have this cool little like clothing rack that we can hang up some clothes to dry if we want to, and that's been super handy. All right, so the bedroom is kind of like the construction zone right now. It's our next big project, but one thing we did was we added this ladder on the wall here that leads up to this skylight, and then this skylight opens up like a hatch so you can crawl out onto, soon will be our roof deck up there. Then the bed is right here. We got some drawers we're working on right now, more storage. They slide out all the way into the hallway, about 6 feet. And then we have, like I mentioned earlier, another AC unit in the back, TV, PS5. And then we also have this litter box right here. It's a self-cleaning one so that we don't have to constantly clean the litter box.
If you are building a bus conversion, I recently found that signaturesolar.com has the best prices on a lot of things you might need. They have 400-watt solar panels for cheaper than I've ever seen. They've got lithium batteries like the EG4 I reviewed that are fantastic value. They've even got pre-charged, super efficient mini splits for sale. Check out signaturesolar.com in the link below and use my code JUICEBOX for $50 off anything you buy.
Me and my wife have lived in this bus for 5 years now. It's a International 98 school bus that's been converted into our home. It's 38 feet long, bumper to bumper, and it's 265 square feet. It has a 24-inch roof raise. As you can see right here, we love hammocks. I bought this separate little hitch you can just simply bolt to, like 40 bucks on Amazon. And then I got this cool hammock set. And we wanted a normal door just because the bus doors, our pets were getting out and that sort of thing. And this was a really hard one to find. I found on Facebook Market. It's like 29.5 inches wide. As you can see, we took all the bus windows out, put RV windows in. It helps with heat, helps with maintaining temperature inside, insulation, all that fun stuff. And eventually we're gonna put some cool wooden accents on the side here. For now, we just painted it white, so it has a fresh paint job currently. Right here is a storage bin. I keep my generator, oils, WD-40, certain hardware, all kinds of stuff in there. You'll see down here, this is my 100-gallon gray tank. So we use a composting toilet, so we don't have a black tank like most RVs, we just keep it gray. And then this is a new project. As you can see up top, we love hammocks, so we put these cool brackets in and these poles so that we could run hammocks on our roof. So in the back here, as you can see, haven't painted the bumper black yet, still a work in progress, but right below it we have our Blue Ox tow bar. Getting this thing into tight spaces is not easy, so we made sure that we could tow our Kia Soul behind the bus whenever we're traveling. So back here is where I keep all the rough stuff like my tools. There's no way to access the inside of the bus from the back here, it's all storage. And then right above me you'll see there's a mini split. This is the AC unit that is in our bedroom to keep that room cold. There's a narrow hallway separating our living room and bedroom, so we had to have an AC in both front and back. As you can see, we got 2 electric bikes here. Those go on the bike rack behind the Kia. Also, as you know, there's a Starlink up on top of the AC unit. We work fully remote online, so we have to have good internet wherever we're at. 2 things come to mind how tiny living's changed my life. Number 1, I'm naturally a pack rat, and when we first moved into the bus, I had to rent out a storage unit that was pretty much just as big as the bus and move all my stuff in there. And we kept moving things out of the bus into the storage unit until eventually for a year, I didn't get anything out of the storage unit. And Rachel was like, whatever's in there, you don't need, we're getting rid of. And so we did. And honestly, it's more freeing to have just what you need than to have a lot of stuff. And then number 2 is the travel bug. Once you travel, it's hard to stop. I just want to keep moving every 2 weeks, and if I sit too long, I'm just itching to move. So
I'm gonna add one. Financially, it's a lot better.
Yeah.
I think a lot of our friends that don't live this way are pretty surprised that even though we travel across country, the gas prices are still less than rent.
As you can see first right here, this is my shore power plug. We run fully off solar, but at times like in the summer in Florida where it's really hot, you gotta plug in or turn on a generator or plug into my solar generators to give it a little extra juice. There's my 4 390-watt solar panels, and then my inverter, charge controllers, all that fun stuff is underneath my bed, all set up down there. We have a tankless propane water heater that heats our showers. Right here is my fresh tank fill up. It is pressure filled, so it's not gravity filled, meaning I always have to have water pressure in order to fill it up. If I could go back, I probably would do a gravity fill so that I have both options. Right under here, I keep my grill slid in there. And then this is my 30-pound propane tank, which is kind of a unique one because it lays horizontal versus vertical. Then on this side, I keep my hoses to fill up my fresh tank. Right here, you see the chimney to my pellet stove that I use to heat my bus in the winter or when it's really cold. And then right below is my AC unit for the front of the bus.
The biggest piece of advice I would give to someone new is don't give up. The first year is the hardest. You're a lot of obstacles, probably mechanical, you're learning a lot of things, it can be frustrating.
My number 1 piece of advice would be before you do anything in this lifestyle, jump into those Facebook groups, get into that community so that they can kind of help guide you before you make the wrong moves in your build. When somebody's been doing this a while and then you run into these obstacles, it's really nice having them by your side to kind of guide you through that. Thanks for watching our tour today, and if you want to tag along our travel journey, go ahead and follow our social medias on BinksTube.